Two guys in their early 50s with one dream, to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Pilgrims, pilgrims, pilgrims. We are back. Andy Walker, it's great to see you, but we're not alone.
No, we are not.
And it's not just you out there, pilgrims, that are joining us tonight. We're actually joined in the flesh by one of our own pilgrims who's been on the journey, on the pilgrimage for a little while now. And
it's
for
not
those
a journey.
of you,
I thought we figured that out a long time ago. It's a pilgrimage.
I couldn't use the word pilgrim and pilgrimage so many times in the one sentence. Give me
yes,
a break.
You can.
So for those of you that are part of the Missing Links Golf Show podcast Facebook group and part of the Missing Links Golf Show yearly championship, which I might add is the finest amateur, middle-aged, podcast-based global golf competition anywhere in the universe, you might know this guy because he's posted some incredibly good rounds, Andy Walker.
Yes. Yeah, and I have been very much looking forward to catching up with this pilgrim. Have noted the good rounds, and it's sort of the level that I feel as though I want to get to, and I'm sort of struggling to get up there. So I'm looking forward to finding out how he's doing it through this phase of work and other commitments.
I hear you. So it feels like an episode of This Is Your Life, doesn't it? Anyway, this is your life. We are going to hear a lot more about it. So a big warm welcome to the Missing Links Golf Show in person, virtually, to Matt Woodbridge. Matty, great to have you join us, mate.
Oh, Mr. Hinks, Mr. Walker, thank you very much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I can't wait to chat and unpack a little bit of stuff.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff to unpack. Don't worry about that. But before we start unpacking, we've got some administration that we do need to do because, pilgrims, we've been slack, and by we, I mean me, and we have not yet shared the results of the month of April for the Missing Links Golf Show yearly championship. So, boys, what do you think? Should we do that? I think we should do that.
Why not?
Yeah, I reckon we should.
Now, I went through these results earlier, and always I'll offer this disclaimer from now on because there was a couple of months ago I was pulled up by one of the pilgrims that told me that I'd missed a couple of rounds that had been submitted. And sometimes this can happen because it's on the Facebook page. You know, sometimes the algorithm hides things. So apologies if I miss anything. I don't think I have. I've double checked. So fingers crossed we've got everything. And it's been some red hot golf. My sweet Lord, it's been good. Andy Walker.
I suspect that I don't figure in the points in April either. Given my sole round was the first round of the Duntry Seniors, I think I'm going to struggle to be up there in the points this month.
Well, look, I've got the spreadsheet in front of me at the moment, and I can tell you that coming into the month of April, you were sitting on 0 points in your tally in the yearly championship. Yep. I can tell you that your round in April, which was at Daintree, which was 30 points, 30 Stableford points.
Yeah.
That didn't get you in the top 6.
Yeah.
See, I'm disappointed because there has been a historical precedence that a round in the 20 points has got points. So I'm disappointed, I must admit.
You can be as disappointed as you like. It doesn't change the reality of it. I'll tell you this as well, though. I shot 36 points earlier in the month. I, too, did not finish in the top 6.
Ooh.
Crikey. Wow.
Yeah.
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 Some hot golf.
Yeah.
That's big news.
I love it.
Yeah. I can also tell you that...
So just one moment, Matt. So do you love that 36 points didn't get a point in the month, or do you just love the fact that Steve didn't get a point in the month.
Oh, Andy, don't be like that.
I just want to clarify that. When you said,
No.
I love it.
No, I love the fact that it's good golf. I like that that our fellow pilgrims are shooting some cracking scores out there and having a lot of fun, mate.
Thank you.
I was definitely not taking a pot shot at Mr. Hinks. Apologies.
Pilgrims, I'd like to introduce my new co-host for future episodes, Matt Woodbridge.
Because given I didn't get any points in the month, I'm not disappointed that Steve didn't get any points in the month.
No, but see, that's the difference. That's the difference between...
There's no competitiveness here.
That's the difference between you two.
None at all.
Your healthy dose of Schadenfreude. Anyway, so I did not make the top 6 with 36, but this much I can tell you is that on 37 points... There was a 3-way tie for 6th, 5th, and 4th.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right. Meaning only one thing, and that is that my very good friend, the Dice of Truth, is going to make an appearance. Okay.
Nice.
Now,
I got to say, I do like this.
It's polarizing, I can tell you, because and I'll explain why, because he features in this playoff, is Big K, Kerrod Purcell from Dubbo, New South Wales, friend of the show, superhuman. He's featured in 2 Dice of Truth playoffs between 6th and 7th so far this year. He's lost both of them and finished outside the points, and Big KP is not a fan of the Dice of Truth as a result. My feedback, Big K, is we've taken your feedback on board. We've listened to you. Our suggestion is you just get better at playoff golf on the Dice of Truth. So he gets another chance. So we've got KP.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's good to know that KP is going to get some points for April.
Yeah. He won't bow out. Geez, if he loses another playoff, though, he's going to be filthy. So I hope for his sake that he puts a good foot forward. So KP is on 37 points. Benny Walker, also from Dubbo, New South Wales, on 37 points. And Donnie from Bathurst, Andy Walker.
Donnie?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Donnie from Bathurst. For those who are not aware, Donnie from Bathurst also masquerades as my dad. So he's a good fella. He's just nudged past 85. So 37 points is going all right.
Yeah, young bloke, apparently.
Yeah, one day younger than Andy Walker's dad.
I hear he must be good mates with that bloke Sandy Wedge too, yeah?
No, can't stand him.
Okay, good.
So, anyway, so here we go. So KP's going to be first off the tee because he's highest placed on the list here. And I know he doesn't like teeing off first, but that's okay. So Big K steps up and here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, no. Oh, that's not good.
No, it actually is good. KP, it's par 4. He's in for eagle.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
He's in for eagle.
Oh, you good thing.
Well done, Big K.
That is exciting. That is exciting. He's made it 2. Oh, that's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah. Love a good eagle on a par 4.
Benny Walker. Here we go, Benny. What do you got? Oh.
Don't tell me it's 1.
He's got a
Don't tell me.
Yes, he's made a double. He's made a double.
Wow.
Oh,
Benny.
wow. Yeah, I know.
Things are not looking good.
Donnie from Bathurst, not known as a big hitter. So for him to make a 1 or a 2 on a par 4 is going to be an absolute turn up. But let's see.
Down the car path.
He'd need it. No, but respectable par.
Oh, nice.
Made a par 4, which means that Benny is in 6th, Donnie's in 5th, and KP is in 4th.
Takes the honours.
Which gives him his 3 points, 2 points to Donnie, 1 point to Benny. A bit of live spreadsheet work is always fun on a podcast.
Sensation. And women think we can't multitask.
Oh, mate, let's not even go anywhere near that.
Sorry, that was dangerous, wasn't it?
It was very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Because we've got quite a big following in the ladies' golf circles on this show.
Really?
Probably not.
Do we?
But anyway, who's to know?
Do the research.
It's new to me.
So that's our trio on 37 points, okay? So in sixth, fifth, and fourth. So well done, gentlemen. In third place, this is incredible. Taking 5 points to his yearly championship tally with 39 Stableford points is the man that has joined us on the show, Matty Woodbridge.
Oh, hey.
Matty. Well done.
Howdy.
That's a good round. That's a good round of golf too.
Bit of luck, yeah.
Was that in the champs, the club champ roles?
It was, mate. That was the first round. Yeah,
nice.
Shot 4 under to start off, and it all went downhill from there.
I think we'll get to that story.
Yeah.
I think we will get to that story. In second place, and this is where things get a little bit crazy. That was third.
39 with third.
Yeah, wow.
I know.
I mean, shoot 4 under, you come in third. That's tough.
Mate, I can only play Stableford events for fun now these days.
Well,
I'm reserved to the fact it's fine.
Well, in second place for the month, getting 7 points to his yearly championship tally with 40 Stableford points is friend of the show, Paul Sam.
Oh, great score, Paul. Well done.
Awesome. Paul, I think from memory, is an Aussie in the US, I think is the go, and he's deliberately retired from work to chase middle-aged sporting glory, is my understanding of things, if I remember that correctly.
I think I did see that post of his.
Yeah, awesome work.
On the group.
Every man's hero. In first place, and I think we're going to need to take a moment and unpack this because this is possibly the best round of golf that has been played in Missing Links Golf Show history, and I don't say that lightly.
Wow, cool.
Because winning the month, 10 points to his yearly championship tally, 41 Stableford points. However, I want to say that this equated to 9 under par off the stick.
Wow.
Is the one and only Tim Murray from Armidale, New South Wales.
That is good golf.
Tim, that is sensational golf.
Like, that's seriously.
Scintillating.
Under.
Seriously.
Wow.
Yep. What dreams are made of.
He's backed it up as well in May so far with an 8 under round.
Yeah. Plays some amazing golf. Honestly. I was lucky enough to play with Tim in an Ambrose event, actually at Bonneville. And
did you shoot 15 under?
I pretty much had to beat him. Yeah.
Matt never got to register a tee shot in that game.
That's right.
It's a reality.
Yeah, unbelievable golfer. Well done.
So that is extraordinary. Now I'm going to do a quick sort here because we want to know who's winning. All right. So we quickly sorted the scores with the totals, and we'll go top 3. So in third place on the yearly championship tally for the year with a total of 12 points so far is that man Paul Sam that we talked about moments ago. Tim Murray's still in the top 10, but that was his first point, those wins. In second place in the yearly championship is Jeremy Dixon, Dicko.
Yeah, nice.
He was leading,
well done.
but he did not get a card in April, which is bizarre. Don't know what happened there, Dicko. If I've missed one, I apologise, but bad luck.
Harsh.
Yeah, you know what it's like. It's a tough score. In first place, creeping into first, 2 points ahead of Dicko, is Matt Woodbridge.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
I've posted too many scores. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Clubhouse leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Long way to go.
Geez, I'm nervous now that I'm a clubhouse leader. No one likes to be leading.
What I'd like, if it's possible, for the rest of the year is for whenever you're standing on the first tee, just remember that you're leading the yearly championship.
Are you trying to get in my head, Steve? Is that what you're doing?
I'm already there.
Because it's working.
Yeah, I'm already there. Anyway, so there you go, Pilgrims. That's the update on the yearly championship. Apologies that we've been so slow, but we're there. Let's now move to the hot topic of the episode, which is Matty Woodbridge's story. So, Matt, I think the place to start is who are you? Where are you from?
Sure.
And what's your relationship with golf like? I feel like we're at an AA meeting.
Yeah, I really do feel like this is your life.
Yeah.
But oh, geez, where do I start? So, yeah, I'm obviously from Dubbo, New South Wales.
Great place. Beautiful place.
Yeah, great place. So, in my opinion, the best course in the Central West. I think it's far leagues above many others. There are a couple that rival it, but I think it's an extremely challenging course, not only for the layout but because of where it is geographically. I think it can go from the driest to, in the winter months, quite wet. I'm sure if you went out and played there this week, it's going to be very wet, being that we've had a lot of rainfall, which is sensational for the Central West. But yeah, so I grew up playing junior golf in Dubbo. Started probably when I was about 10 or 11 years old. Just going out there playing with my dad really to start with. He was a golfer, loved it for a bit of an escape from work and whatnot. And he was a good golfer back in the day, not lights out golf, but very good golfer. He sort of tried to teach me where to start and how to hit the ball and everything like that. And I sort of, I wouldn't say I fell in love with it. I just found it very very challenging. I think it's probably one of the most challenging sports you can find, definitely mentally. I started playing junior pennants and got a group of mates at the golf club that were all juniors in the same sort of age group that were as enthusiastic in playing golf as I was. And we had a really good band of mates that now, looking back on all those years ago, out of, let's say, there was about 10 mates of mine that I grew up with playing golf. 4 of them turned out to be pros out of that 10.
Far out.
So,
Nice.
yeah, we were a pretty hot little contingent over the years.
So who were they? What were those names?
So we've got Jake O'Brien, who's the current pro at Dubbo.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the 2 Wilson twins, so Patrick and Lindsay Wilson. I think they both play off about +3 or +4 at the moment. They're still sensational golfers. They went over to Canada and tried their hand at the tour and whatnot.
Lindsay won the Macquarie Cup a couple of years ago. Patrick did.
No. Geez, I can't remember. They've both won it, I think.
I think it was Lindsay a couple of years ago.
You might be right, mate.
That was the last time, Andy Walker, that you played Macquarie Cup.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. I think Patrick won maybe the club champs last year and might have, or no, I think Cooper still won the club champs last year. Anyway, to be honest, they're very, very good golfers and won their fair share of tournaments over the years. And then you've got another young fella who doesn't play as much anymore as what he probably should, Ross Horrocks, who was over in Canada with those Wilson boys that turned pro as well. So
good man, Roscoe put the sprinkler system in my lawn.
There you go. Yeah, a very, very handy greenkeeper around Dubbo. Worked. His father was the main greenkeeper at Dubbo for many, many years. I was lucky enough to work under him for a while there, under work experience and just out of school and doing all that thing. And it was great. But so that's pretty much growing up with my childhood. Getting to know those blokes. Having those really good rivalries. We used to go out there and I remember there used to be a Chinese shop up the top of our clubhouse, and we used to play for a bowl of fried rice and a bottle of Coke with raspberry cordial in the bottom. And that they were the fun days back when I was growing up. So that's what kept me enthused. I can honestly say that I wouldn't be still as enthusiastic and sort of getting into golf these days as I would have been if it wasn't for those blokes. So shout out to those fellas.
And let's be honest, that you're in regional New South Wales when it's a Chinese shop and not a Chinese restaurant.
Exactly. Sorry, apologies. Yes, Chinese restaurant. It was mighty good. It's not there anymore. So I hope I'm not offending anybody. If the previous owner is listening, apologies.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
So I darted in and out of golf. I played a few other sports when I was growing up. I actually made it for basketball for the New South Wales team when I was about 13. So I was a little bit handy at that for a while, and I sort of jumped out of golf for a little bit. But my life has been a series of topsy-turvy accidents, unfortunately. And growing up, I had, at the age of 14, I had a pretty serious motorbike accident out 60 kilometres west of Nyngan. I ended up breaking my arm, breaking my leg. Had a huge gash on my arm, almost bled out, and got airlifted to Dubbo and went into big surgery. Had a metal plate put in my leg and quite a long rehabilitation from that. But look, I kept on turning back to golf because whenever anything like that hit me, I wasn't able to play really any other sport. So I found myself back out on the golf course on my crutches or limping up to the tee and hitting the ball with one hand and just being out there. So that was, that's why I love golf, I think, because it is that sport that just brings me back to sort of good times and being able to be active.
Golf on crutches. I've never actually tried golf on crutches before, so that's
it's
a new
difficult. Yeah, one crutch, hopping on one leg, one crutch up to the tee with the golf club in one hand. I had to get someone to put the ball in the ground, obviously my dad, and I used to bash it with one hand. Almost, you'd say it was Jack Newton-ish.
Yes.
As the fella who lost his arm.
You could possibly just turn your broomy over and use that as a crutch if you wanted to, Andy Walker.
You could.
Could do.
Yeah.
By the sounds of it, that's probably all it's going to be good for. But
I tell you, the way my putting's going at the moment, that's about all it's good for. But that's another story.
But I segue into actually Jack Newton because Jack Newton Junior Golf, I'm not sure whether you gentlemen are aware, but he has a foundation, and it's one of the best, I would think, in the world for junior golfers growing up and wanting to play competitive tournaments. And I played it all through my junior career. He had one specific tournament which was sponsored by Harvey Norman called the Harvey Norman Week of Golf, and I looked forward to it every single year. It was 5 days of golf, and Jack Newton has sponsored it so that you could get into some of the golf courses you were never, ever going to get a chance to play. So, we played at some absolutely fantastic tournaments around New South Wales, and myself and the other 10 juniors from Dubbo, our contingent were pretty fierce in all those tournaments. The likes of a young bloke by the name of Matthew Gleeson, I always remember him growing up, and he was so good for his young age. He was probably a few years below us, but used to just be an absolute demon around the greens, and took out so many tournaments. But anyway, so we ended up all doing that Jack Newton Junior Golf Foundation, and that's really what built my I would say my swing and looking at other juniors and figuring out where I stood in the makings was very eye-opening for a lot of years.
It's interesting though, like when you talk about coming through with such a crop of good players of a similar age group, obviously it's going to help you, win junior pennants events and be competitive as a team. But I could also imagine that you start to get a bit of a feeling of saying, I'm just one of a whole bunch of kids of a similar level, so potentially that changes the perception of where you might sit in the broader scheme of things. Whereas, say if you're a guy who was playing at that level and you were the only junior at the club, then you could get a very enlarged view of your own worth, if you know what I mean. But whether it actually works the opposite way, potentially, when you come through in a crop like that of
100%, mate. It definitely brought you back to earth. There was no room to be really cocky because, you were always getting beaten. I mean, it didn't matter who you were inside that group of 10. One one person was always challenging the other in any tournament that we're in. We're all very similar sort of similar sort of quality players, and 100%. You went away to some of these tournaments though, and you figured out there's a lot of really good players, like a lot, but very, very few great players. So there were there was a few that really stood out. A young bloke by the name of Justin Nitties was, he's, I think, still playing the tour at the moment. He just was miles above the rest, at a lot of tournaments that I was playing at. But it just brought you back into that, that sort of thinking of, okay, where do I want to take this? What is my end game here? Am I as good as I think I am? And can I do this? If you were ever going to go and make a thing of it. And don't get me wrong, I mean, playing off scratch when you were, 13, 14 is a great feat. And I say that not to sound arrogant or anything like that. I say it because there's a lot of young kids now these days that are shooting these amazing scores and playing off these very low figures. But to actually make it, all the ducks need to line up in a row all at once. You need to have the funding behind you to be able to do it all and stuff like that. And, without foundations like Jack Newton Junior Golf Foundation, there's no way that an average kid from the bush should be able to sort of, play competitive golf at that sort of high level. Yeah, so I am very, very grateful for that.
Did you have a coach or a mentor? So that group of 10 that you're talking about, a lot of the time that there's like someone who mentors a group or someone who drives you around to the events, or, whether it be a coach or just one of the dads or whatever. Did you have anyone like that in that group of 10?
I had a mentor for life, which is my mother. She was the one who drove me around to absolutely everything. The best human I know. In terms of the golf part of it, we had a professional at Dubbo. We had two actually growing up through my junior career. Steve Aisbert was the first pro at Dubbo who coached a few of us. I could probably count on one hand the amount of lessons I've actually had in my whole entire life, but I don't think getting lessons, paid lessons with a pro, is necessarily where I learnt my craft. I think there was another gentleman by the name of Anthony Keck, and for those of you who are listening to the podcast, you know him, he's probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He is hearing impaired, and I think that benefits him in terms of golf because he can't hear everything around him. But he has one of the best minds I think I've come across in terms of shot selection, different ways you can think about the game, different ways you look at a particular hole. And he and I grew up videotaping each other, and he was a fair few years older than me, though. I was a bit of an old soul. I think he might have been maybe 8 or 9 years older than me, and he drove me around to a fair few events, and we went and played pennants together and stuff like that. So he I would see as my main mentor, and I thank him for where I for being able to play as good as I can now these days. I think that the way we learn was going out there and playing it. Us going out there, and like we were talking about in the pod group the other day, and in the Facebook group, putting two balls out there, grabbing your ball, throwing it underneath the tree, or putting it in a really difficult spot, and both lining up behind the same shot and going, righto, what are the different ways we can hit this? How should we hit it? Where should we hit it? What club type, and he really opened my eyes to different ways. And I hope I did a sort of similar thing to him. I was in no way, shape or form as good as him back in those days. He was a very, very good golfer, won many club championships at Dubbo, but I still remember that to this day, being really, really challenged by him with all the different ways you can play golf. So yeah, very cool, very cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a very similar relationship to what I had with friend of the show, David McClellan, because he was exactly the same, a few years older than me, drove me around to all the events. We played pennants together. I learned an enormous amount off him, and it's such an important thing for it, and especially I was actually talking sort of in our family at a family get together over the weekend how important it is for young guys to have other guys, those father figures, those mentors, while you're growing up, to be able to sort of show you the ropes and show you the way, whether it's to play golf or just go about life.
I totally agree with you. I think that he was not just a good mentor because he was handy at golf and he taught me how to think outside the square. He was also a good mentor because I think he was a level-headed bloke. Just he had a father who owned his father was a publican actually. He owned a couple of pubs here in Dubbo, and he helped his dad run all of that sort of stuff. And he had his own challenges in life, obviously being hearing impaired and whatnot. But the way he overcame a lot of his hurdles and stuff like that to be as successful as what he is too, I sort of I very much looked up to that, and I think that's why I enjoyed that sort of time with him so much, because I really, really did see him as someone to aspire to be.
It's funny how so many of the conversations that we have come back to life lessons and building life skills as much as it is golf skills. And I feel like, if we go back to the very first episode that we did, Andy Walker, as much as I cringe when I listen to it with how bad the quality of our work was, but nevertheless, It was one of those key themes, I think, that we talked about from the beginning, of the importance of, golf is, as that quote is, as much the game of life as any other might be, and all of the things that you learn along the way. And so, that's definitely something that we've gotten out of it, and hopefully, plenty of other people do. And it's one of the ones that we want to get our kids involved with as well, because of all the benefits that come from it. So, no, that's awesome. So, with that in mind, Matty, tell me, what are some of the hard-won lessons that you've got from the game over the years? And if you were going to go back, hop in the Missing Links Golf Show time machine and have a chat with, 12, 13-year-old Matt Woodbridge, what pearls of wisdom are you throwing his way?
I think we touched on a little bit just a moment ago with, you get surrounded by so many other people who are, you look towards and go, oh my God, they're so much better than what I am. But I think I'd tell my younger self to believe more in myself. It wasn't because I wasn't good enough. It was because I saw other people, I think, in my space and got discouraged from how intimidating they were. I think we all do it a bit, and you can even do it inside your own golf group. If you're a person playing with a substantially better golfer than what you are, like myself, playing in the final round of the club championships this year, and we'll get to that a bit later. But you can get very, very intimidated, and it can drastically affect how you not only approach the game, because it can make you either more aggressive or less aggressive. It can also change the way you feel about the game. I've found anyway. I've found that I may have gotten myself, when in my younger years, when I went to some of those really big tournaments, just a little bit taken back and gone, oh my gosh, I'm nowhere near as good as what I should be at this age group, so I'm never going to make it. And I think that's what probably changed my mindset as a junior. And I wish now these days that I went back to that younger bloke and just said, no, keep at it. If you really want this, you work at it, you keep grinding, and good things will come. But yeah, I had a few things that tripped me up, the motorbike accident, and then, later on in life now, these days, I had a few more accidents where I almost, died again, which people who know me previously might know. I had a bit of a bad farm accident where I fell off the back of a truck and went underneath the car trailer and broke 8 ribs and 6 vertebrae. And it ran over my heart, had pericarditis, which is the bruising of the inflammation around your heart. So I've had a few setbacks. So I think I mentioned this to you, Steve, before we even decided to, have this chat on the podcast. But I feel incredibly lucky just to be able to come out and play golf and not have agonizing pain, after the round. Don't get me wrong, it's still challenging and I'm still working on it myself, trying to keep myself as fit as I can. But there's nothing more delicious than a beer after golf, as we can all probably agree.
Story.
I probably do that a bit too often, but yeah. So I feel very humbled to be able to still play this game and play it at an okay level. So yeah,
I think it's better than an okay level, just quietly.
And it's a good topic though, that I think, Steve, because it's all relative, right? So I mean, I think, once again, back to what we were just talking about a second ago, we can all compare ourselves to anyone else. And we seem to do that in life. But I love the quote that, you only should compare you to yourself of yesterday, because that's where golf, I think, that's where you can really, really improve, is if you take away all the noise and start focusing on, right, I did this poorly last week. I'm working on it. I figured out what I did wrong and I'm going to do it better next week. I think that's the small things that add up to that big thing. I think that's where I try to focus a lot of my energy. Yeah,
it's an interesting one. And I agree. I love that quote. And I think we should do more of that as an outlook. But how often, when people, you meet someone who you get introduced to, like, this is so-and-so, they play a lot of golf, and, it'll take 1 or 2 sentences before someone says, what do you play off? It's such a numerically comparative game.
It is.
And I think, everything that you said is spot on, that, rather than comparing, am I better, but is my handicap higher or lower than this other person, is a constant battle that everyone always fights. Is my handicap going up? Is it going down? What is it at the moment? Am I playing as well as I should or not as well as I should? All of those sorts of things. But, rather than just that focus of, it's a journey, it's a pilgrimage, sorry, Andy Walker, sorry.
Thank you.
And in what is the trajectory or what is the velocity of my pilgrimage?
Yep.
Which is more important. And, am I working at something? Am I getting a little bit better? Am I learning things? These are all much better outlooks than how do I measure myself against other people on a daily basis. But it just seems everything about the game, from the scoring system to the handicapping system, actually is an active distraction to take you away from thinking about things in the right way. So you can tell that it's a Scottish game, the way that they've designed it like that.
Totally.
I also think that the vast majority of people will have that imposter syndrome at some stage. I know I've felt that at different times, certainly, coming out of the junior ranks, sort of similar to yourself, going and playing in other clubs, in those big club events, New South Wales events. I know you mentioned you were playing against James Niddies. I had sort of Lucas Parsons and Paul Gow, and Michael Campbell was another one. I got absolutely smoked by Stephen Alker in one of the New South Wales Amateur Championships. And that's exactly how you feel. Like I had a belief in my own ability. You come up against these guys that are just red hot. And you sort of go, well, do I actually deserve to be here? And rather than comparing yourself against you from yesterday, you start sort of looking outside and going, look at all these guys that are just, they're phenomenal golfers, and do I fit in?
Yeah. Totally agree. And to be honest, that's exactly what I did in the final round of the club championships. I was playing with this young fella, and for those of you who know Cooper from Dubbo, he's won next to pretty much everything as a junior. Very, very, very impressive golfer. Hits the ball an absolute mile. And I wouldn't say I'm a slouch of a hitter, and he just makes me look like, powder puff. So, very impressive to watch. But definitely a different game style to myself too. And that's where, I'm not saying one's better than the other at all, but I do pride myself on the way I play the game, because I think it is there is different, shot types and choices that I think sorts the men out from the boys, as a bit of a metaphor. So I think, once again, I think if everyone could have more pride in themselves and focus on their own game and say, righto, where was I and where am I now? And where do I want to be? And just focus on that and forget the guy beside me. I mean, easier said than done, right? Because
100%.
you go out and you have you'll have a game with some mates of yours, and you might have a friendly wager, and they'll be up you and you'll be up them, and it's a hell of a fun time, I think, when you do all of that sort of thing. So it's hard to get yourself in the right mindset, but I use that now these days as a bit of a challenge. I like playing those sort of things because I like challenging my mind, and I like putting my mind in a different place, so that I can make it stronger. If it's almost like flexing a muscle. So I heard a good quote the other day about the way you should perceive your own golf game. You need to be arrogantly ignorant to actually how good you are. So think you are better than what you actually are, which sounds totally abstract, right? But I think that's what the Rory McIlroys, and that's what the Bryson DeChambeaus are, definitely him. But I think that's what the top level players do. They exude that confidence because they know, whether or not they can do it or not, they know that they can be the world number one and be the best. But even at our small club levels, I think that's what it's definitely a good technique to have in your bag.
Have a bit of
I'm
swagger.
not sure. Yeah, I'm not
Swagger,
sure.
That's right.
Arrogantly ignoring something that Scotty Scheffler has. I reckon that,
probably not. No.
I reckon he knows how good he is. There was actually I think it was on the telecast last week on the PGA Tour that one of the commentators was quoting a guy who was talking about Jack Nicklaus, but was referring to Scotty Scheffler, and what he said is that Scotty Scheffler knows he's the best golfer out there. Everyone around him also knows that he's the best golfer out there, and he knows that everybody else knows that he's the best golfer out there. And I thought that was very good.
Yeah, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, right? So, yes, he's one hell of a golfer for sure.
So, fast forward now, we get back out of the time machine, and we're back in 2026, chasing middle-aged sporting glory, which is obviously a bit of a key term from the Missing Links Golf Show, but we use it because it's tricky. It's not the same as it was when we were 18, and we could just throw everything into playing golf or whatever the pursuit might have been, whatever your chosen sport might have been at that point. Because now you've got full-time work, you've got family, you've got, all of those other adult commitments, you've got, let's be honest, a body that maybe isn't working quite as well as it was when we were 18. There's a lot of these things that are going on, time pressures and family pressures and work pressures and all those things. So it's not easy. Middle-aged sporting glory is not easy. In fact, it's probably harder to achieve and therefore more glorious than younger age sporting glory. So how do you do it, Matt? Like, obviously you play golf still extremely well, based on hitting a million golf balls when you're younger as well as what you're doing now. A lot of muscle memory there. But like, what's the method? How do you go about making sure that you can still turn up and be competitive at club championships and be competitive, around the traps and shoot good scores and be challenging par or better on a regular basis? Because, this is a level of golf a lot of people would absolutely aspire to.
Yeah, I guess that, that growing up bit, obviously putting that aside, these days, it's about treating myself well, I think, keeping my body in okay shape, and flexibility. I mean, as we get older, our flexibility, I don't know about you guys, but crikey, I feel like I'm going to have arthritis in my ears when I get older. I've broken that many bones. So, I try to, I still play, tennis and touch footy when I can, and I do the touch footy actually with my wife. She likes to exercise as well, and I'm a firm believer in that of try to do something active with that significant other of, if you can, if they're that way inclined. I'll also say that I think your relationship that you've got with that significant other plays a big part on whether or not you, one, are allowed to have the time to go and play the golf, or feel like it's an okay thing to do. I'm probably, I'd like to think I'm mindful of, obviously, my family. They come first no matter what. I mean, if I had to stop playing golf tomorrow, because of my family, it is what it is. But I'm so lucky that I've got an extremely supportive wife. She actually kicks my behind every now and again, saying you should go out and play more golf because you're okay at it. So I'm forever grateful for that. I'm very, very, very lucky bloke. But I try to bring my boys out whenever they want to. I think that's important to me. Not pushing specific sports or things you love on your children. I've got two boys, 6 and 8, Harvey and Spencer, and they're very active. They both play a bit of soccer, and they love to get outdoors. And we live in a rural sort of lifestyle. I live on a bit of a farm, and they love to get out and about. So I think that's fantastic if you've got that opportunity. But yeah, I feel like it is what you make it. So I mean, it's about making the time, not not asking for the time and stuff like that. So you might try to create yourselves, with things like virtual simulators and stuff these days. I think there's always an avenue of being able to get a little bit in, if you can time manage your time every now and again. So that's what I try to do. I try to sneak it in as much as I possibly can, but with being mindful of all those other things. Work's not overly easy for me. I do a fair bit of travel, being a network engineer, trying to fix a lot of things all across New South Wales, but it is a juggle, and it is tough. So you just got to do your best in these later years.
Damn, I was hoping you were going to say just do this, this, and this, and that's the secret, and you'll be fine.
I've found a good key would be find a wife that doesn't like you, so she wants you to be out of the house all the time. But
we've all failed at that. So anyway,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So is that in regards to the actual practice that you do, Matt? You mentioned that you've got a sim that you do a bit of practice on. So then when the other practice you do, is it just going out and playing, like being with your boys and going out and playing, or do you do like mainly short game putting? Like what's the methodology that you've got around maintaining your game?
Yeah, sure. So in the backyard, 100%. Whenever we've got an afternoon spare, I'll be out there chipping in the backyard, just grabbing the boys with a club and saying who can get closest to the nearest tree. And I think that's just part of who I am. So that's, whenever I've got that spare time, that's my first sort of thought process is go and pick up a club. But when I go and play, I mean, we've got an event that's run throughout the summer called Summer Eights here in Dubbo, which is, typically called your twilight comps or what have you at all your clubs. And I find that being that it has a little bit of a social aspect, but it has a practice to it for myself. That's my avenue of being able to get that 9 holes in each week, get that little bit of practice in, have a need, to go out there. And it obviously also motivates me to make sure I put the time aside to go out there, because otherwise I'll be letting a team down. But yeah, I find that's the best practice for me. I'm not a person who really has ever gone and sat at the range. Probably when I was really young, when I had the time, I'd go and sit at the range and hit thousands of golf balls. But I've found playing the holes, playing all those different shots, because when you're on a range, for me, you get one result and one experience. I mean, you're hitting off similar patches of grass. You're hitting 2 same targets with similar wind directions. So I find that doesn't give you a lot of variation. I find playing the holes being extremely advantageous. So yeah, I'll do that, and I'll take 5 balls up to the green and throw them on the 5 different areas of the actual green and make a putt from each of those particular areas, trying to get that feel that in my putting game. I'm a very feel focused sort of player. I wouldn't say that I'm clinical in any of my my approaches to my game at all. It's just all in my hands. So yeah, that's how I try to practice. But once again, everyone learns differently. I mean, I've learned that having children. I'm a very visual learner, and I've understood that about myself. So that's how I teach myself. I look at other players and have a look at a lot of different swing types. Try to identify the differences between theirs and mine. Figure out where my hand positioning might be different. And don't get me wrong, I'm super, super critical of even my own swing now these days. I still don't think that I've got a great swing. But as long as I get it back to the same spot every single time and my hands feel like they can create the same motion each time, I think, the rest will come. So yeah, that's what I try to do.
That's really interesting that you take that game-based approach, and I mean that's been a theme of a couple of episodes in recent times. And I mean, I mentioned before we just started recording that since the Duntry Seniors, of course we've had a fair bit of rain. I had been meaning to play more holes, and I think I've played 6 holes since then. But I mean that's sort of weather based, and my intention is to still get out and play more. But I've sort of been the opposite in that I've been a big practice ball hitter, and I hit like thousands and thousands and thousands of balls on the range as a young bloke. You had to force me to get out and play because
Really?
I used to love practice. So it doesn't mean I didn't play. I still did. I went out with sort of mates and stuff like that. But it was more the practice range and practice swings and old habits are very hard to get out of. And I find myself gravitating towards that style of practice, which potentially doesn't serve me in this day and age with limited time and limited resources, rather than all day, every day like I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, totally. Did you find that that range sort of practice served you well, being that you were, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong here, you're trying to work on that muscle memory and trying to, hit that same shot and exactly the same way in a repetitious sort of manner?
No, a lot of the time I was practicing different types of shots. So I was trying to work the ball and hit punch shots and high shots, and I had target practice where I would hit a draw or a fade or hook or a slice depending on what I was trying to achieve. But one of the things that I grew up sort of reading is about Greg Norman, and Greg Norman said he hit a minimum of 300 balls a day. So given he was one of my idols, guess what I wanted to do? I wanted to get out there and hit 300 balls a day. So that was my minimum. That was my benchmark. And unfortunately, I did it to the exclusion of practicing other parts of the game, short game putting.
How did it work for your short game?
Not that well. I use a broomstick putter, so that's how it worked with my putting.
I mean, a challenge for yourselves and all the pilgrims out there is next time you're on the putting green, like let's say you're warming up for a tournament or whatever, I'd suggest if you've got, like, let's say you've got 8 or 9 practice holes on the putting green, go and pick someone that you know that's practicing their putting before the round and just challenge them to a putting comp. That is literally all we did as juniors, is just practice by having putting comps, and you'll very quickly figure out that people see completely different lines to you. And it's so interesting the way that some people read and understand being able to, pick the break. I've found, like, I played with a woman pro because we have the women's New South Wales Open qualifier in Dubbo, and I played in the Pro-Am with her, and she did the whole standing over the line, with the feet weight, which I think
aim point,
which I think you guys touched on previously, and said how the heck do they feel the break with 2 feet either side, feeling whether there was more pressure on one or the other, and she found it extremely effective. And she picked a few putts that, because we were playing in an Ambrose, she picked a few putts, and I'm like, oh, I think it's way outside that, hey. And she said, no, I think you're giving it too much. And she felt that. She knew how to read it her way, and picked it every time. I was amazed. But I think, like, that putt off that you could have, once again, I learned from other people. I love to take little bits of gold from absolutely everyone and try to adapt it to my game. And I think it's worthwhile. And especially getting into the heads of other golfers, when they're doing that putting, around what they've learned, like how do you hit your putting stroke and all that sort of stuff. I think, all the knowledge is out there. We just need to pluck it out of people's heads, right?
And certainly what works for someone doesn't always work for the next person as well, which is the 100%. Other thing that makes this game so excruciatingly frustrating. But anyhow.
So true.
I feel like we've covered that ad nauseum. Couple of questions for you, Matty. So we've talked about a few different people that you played golf with and, things that you've learned from them. If you had to pick a person, or if you prefer 3 persons, for your favourite playing partner or your favourite 4-ball, however you want to answer this.
Present company excluded, or?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be awkward if we don't do. Take that as a given. Okay, so let's just say we're busy that weekend. You can pick anyone else. Who is that going to be? Don't say Tim Nichols.
Every day of the week, Timmy. I'd pick you, mate.
Love Timmy.
Mine would probably be a higgledy-piggledy or mixed match of different blokes. I think I'd love to have a round with John Daly. I mean, that would be so entertaining, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, having
it'd
him
be different.
rock up, it would be different, 100%.
Yeah.
Having him rock up and just absolutely stripe the ball when he's had 11 rums or whatever he drinks.
Yeah. Do you have to warm up with him?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I'd be able to play. I'd be too inebriated if I did. But maybe him. I mean, Tiger. He's always been someone I've looked up to. As a kid, he's been the biggest thing. I mean, in golf, I'd probably wanted to hang out with him back in the day rather than say today.
Best player ever, you think? Andy Walker, Tiger Woods, best player ever.
The second best golfer of all time.
Ooh, who is the number one in your books then, Andy?
Jack. It's always Nicholas? Jack. Yeah. Always Jack.
Yeah, look, I mean, you probably I don't think I've watched a lot of his highlight reels, to be fair. So I'm probably not educated enough to compare him and Tiger.
Yeah. I
But
grew up watching Jack, and he was just
yeah,
unbelievable. And don't get me wrong, I mean, it was the latter half of his playing career that I saw. Obviously, the earlier bits I wasn't around, but I think that if Tiger, if he stayed on the course more, if he didn't get like if he wasn't as injured as much and had all the back operations and all the swing changes, I think he could have taken that mantle. However, if you look at Jack, and I was reading, it came up on my Facebook feed over the last couple of days that between I think like 1963 and 1981, I think it was that in the Open Championship, he came out of the top 6 once.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah,
it was
wild.
the breadth of the how many years he was at the top. Whereas Tiger has been at certain times, but he's also spent a fair bit of time out of game being injured. So I think that's probably the difference between the two for me.
It's interesting. I think sorry, I was just going to say, it's interesting that you said you grew up watching Jack, because I actually thought you grew up watching old Tom Morris.
Thanks, mate.
Middle-aged sporting brother.
Anyway, sorry, back to you, Matt.
No, not at all. I think when I was a junior growing up, I was probably, I mean, I had a growth spurt at like the age of maybe 11, 12, and I was all of a sudden 6 foot tall. So I think why I looked up to Tiger is because he hit that amazingly long ball. I don't know how long Jack was, but I think the wow factor for Tiger was just off the charts. Probably the same way that people look at Rory now these days, striping it past people, or even Bryson DeChambeau, driving greens and stuff like that. I think the game's just gotten longer, and that's a pretty cool topic within inside itself, reducing the length of golf courses or reducing clubs and stuff like that. But I think that's probably why he hits me as probably a pretty cool bloke to play with, just to compare, like see how long he actually is in real life. But yeah, one of my other ones would have to be either Justin Rose or Rory McIlroy. They just, I mean, Rosie just sounds like such a nice bloke, and I probably think that he's been a bit hard done by in the last few years. He probably should have won a lot more stuff than what he did, and I kind of wish he did, because he just comes across as that sort of happy-go-lucky fella, always happy for people when they win too. I think that's what I admire the most about Rosie. He, after the Masters, he could have stormed off and gone, "Oh my God, I can't believe that I just got beaten in a playoff," but he didn't. He was so happy for Rory, and he vocalized that in every single interview that he had after it. And that's what I sort of pride myself on a fair bit too in golf, is I like having really good playing groups. I like playing with, just nice people. I don't care about the golf in terms of, I don't want to, pigeonhole myself and go and play with people that play off single figures or really, really low handicaps. I'm out there for the social aspect as well. But because I think it should be an enjoyable thing. I think we play this sport to love it, but also to love the experience of how we're playing and where we're playing and who we're playing with. So, yeah.
So you would want to play with Rosie because of the way he acts on the golf course, and you mentioned about the playoff loss and how he was after it. Sort of similar to the way Rory acted after he lost to Bryson DeChambeau in the US Open.
Yeah, similar.
Would you actually mention that to him in the playing group?
I'm probably bold enough to mention it, but I probably shouldn't.
Oh man, I I'd point him towards what was that episode that we did after Pinehurst when we may have provided an honest review of that behaviour.
And that's fair. I mean, where you act like a goose, you should be called out. So
for sure. What about a non-golfer? Who would you drag in? Someone that may not be known. They might be a golfer, but may not be known specifically for golf. So, like, get outside the professional ranks. You know, who are you going to drag in from right out there?
Do they have to be alive?
Question. They don't have to be alive. They don't have to be alive. They could be anyone.
Could be anyone.
Could be your great-grandmother.
Well, I think, Andy, who would yours be? If you've got one.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd like to, and it's probably more meeting rather than playing golf with. But you hear sort of stories like guys like Nelson Mandela that just have enormous wisdom. Just to get inside that guy's mind and understand how he thinks, I think it'd be phenomenal.
That actually struck a bit of a thought process with me. I went to I'm a bit of a science nerd, and I went to an amazing presentation down in Sydney a couple of weeks ago by a gentleman by the name of Brian Cox.
I love Brian Cox. So keyboardist from D Ream. Things can only get better. That song.
That's right.
And he's also a phenomenal astrophysicist.
He's an astrophysicist. He talks about obviously our universe and how it's all made up and planets and all of that sort of stuff. But very, very nerdy. But he is such a articulate and fascinating fella. He made this presentation about the world we live in, and it just makes you think that you're only here for a speck of time. I mean, our whole entire world, like Earth, has taken 13 billion years to get to just the point where humans are alive on it. And within the first the last 400 years, we've just discovered so much about our planet and, how big the universe is and everything like that. It just makes you think you got to, seize every moment and make sure that you live life to the fullest, because who knows when your time's up. And I think it's just, there's something poetic about it, and I just love hearing someone like that who has a grasp on all those things. I wonder how they're not gone insane until now because of the amount of understanding they've got of everything that happens. And I do think once again, bringing it back to golf, I do think that is one thing that I do way too much. Is I think way too much about things. And think way too much about my game and analyze it too much. The best golf I ever play is off a break, which is wild, right? Because I come back not having any preconceived ideas of how I'm going to play, and I just go out there and play freely. And I think we can all probably attest to that. If playing freely is some of the best golf that you'll ever play.
Mm-hmm. So you're a bit of a fan of YouTube University?
I am, mate.
Anyone in particular?
No one in particular.
Anyone and everyone?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Excellent.
Look, mate, I'm in IT. We learn everything off the internet. So, it's all true. Everything you read is true.
It is so good. Yeah. It is so good. There were so many things going through my mind whilst I was listening to you give those answers. One of which is just listening to you talk about how Professor Brian Cox can talk to you about how we are but a speck of dust in in the beach of other specks of dust, and how our moment in time is so fleeting, and I think that would be the conversation to have while someone in the group's complaining about speed of play from the group in front. Would be particularly useful. But you also talk about playing freely, getting mentally out of your own way. Definitely topics that friend of the show, Dr. Raymond Pryor, would agree with. And if you haven't done so, have a listen to that episode, actually, when we had him on the show. Absolute genius when it comes to all things mental approach. But with that as a segue, talk to me about the last round of the club champs.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd had 3 pretty handy rounds. I'd gone 4 under first round, 2 under second round, square third round. So I'm sitting 6 under in the 4th round. So was my opposition. So I was actually the clubhouse leader because I finished with 2 birdies, coming home to finish square on that 3rd round, which was a clutch moment in itself.
So was that on 17, 18? You birdied 17, 18 coming home?
No, I birdied 8 and 9.
8 and 9, okay.
Yeah. I hit
I was going to say birding 17, 18 is a hell of an effort, but yeah.
Well, I actually was you say 18's a bit of a nemesis hole for you. Mine's 8. I seem to always hit it right on 8. Yeah.
Oh, don't go right. Don't go right.
Don't go left on 18.
Yeah.
I hit it to like 2 foot or 3 foot or something. I won the nearest pin for the day. Just was absolutely chuffed. So I carried a bit of confidence going into the final round. And I thought to myself, look, I'm playing, reasonable golf. I'm sitting under par. And I think anytime you're sitting under par going into the final round, you got to be pretty happy, right? And
is this about the time when you sent me that message saying, have you got any tips for mental game for the last round?
Yeah, because I once again, I'm thinking too much about things. I should have just thought it's just another game of golf. Just get out there and play it, right? And hindsight's a wonderful thing. I'd be a multi-millionaire if I had hindsight. I would have picked the lottery lots of times, but it is what it is. I think you got to put yourself back into, that comfort zone of, look, trust your own game, get out there and just hit the ball and don't think about it. But saying it and doing it are 2 completely different things. So I've lined up on the first at Dubbo, and I was the first off, obviously, because I was clubhouse leader, and I striped it down the middle. I was pretty confidently hit it, and I was pumped. And I've then hit and I don't know what made me do this, but I was a little bit too far for my 4-iron. I might have been like 215 out, and I thought to myself, oh, look, I'll just daisy a hybrid up there. And on the left-hand side of our first fairway, there's a couple of little mounds, and I just had it on a touch on my feet on the upside, and the ball was on the downhill slope. And yeah, exactly. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to hit this right if I don't adjust myself, but I hit it right anyway. But lo and behold, I got absolutely blessed. And it hit the top of the tree and ended up right in front of the green. And I actually pitched it up and putted it in for birdie.
Nice.
But my playing partner, Cooper, smashed his drive probably 15, 20 past me down the first, with a 3-wood, mind you, then put it on the back of the green and putted it in for eagle. So he had an eagle on the first. I had a birdie on the first. And I thought, oh, look, a shot's a shot. That's fine. But then he went birdie, birdie, par, birdie, birdie, and ended up like 5 or 6 under after, I think, 6 or 7 holes. And I just went up. I thought to myself, I'm just outclassed. But look, I didn't get my head down. I just thought, let's just stick with it. But I think I hit the 12th, and I thought to myself, right, here's an opportunity to get, I think I was maybe square at that point, and I thought, here's an opportunity to get a couple of shots back. And just didn't hit the ball the way I wanted it to. Hit an okay drive, hit what I thought was a terrible shot, just to the front of the right-hand bunker there, and hit a pitch shot too far, missed the putt, and ended up with par. Anyway, long story short is he's birdied it as well and gone even further ahead. And I just went, I think I'm too far out there. And I think I got my head in a space where I just went, yeah, that's it. And I made, I think, 3 straight bogeys. So I was a bit disappointed with my mental attitude then. I think I got myself into a point where I was like, it's too far. It's a too big a hill to climb. And it's good because it's a learning curve, and I'll try my best not to do it again. But it is what it is. So, yeah. Not the finish to the tournament I wanted. I would love to have finished, a few under par, but I think I ended up having 6 over for the day, which was a hard pill to swallow. Just ended up finishing very slackly, and I probably punished myself for doing that, because I should have pulled my shorts up a bit better coming into the final end of it. But hey, it is what it is, and I'll get them next time.
Mate, it's still an incredible effort. Like, honestly, and I know it's so easy. And this is one of the brutal things about the game, right? Like, you played over, that event's over 72 holes. And you've played 54 holes of incredible golf to put yourself in the final group. And then,
Thanks. Yeah.
And then things don't necessarily pan out the way that you want them to, and you kick yourself about that, second half of the last day. And it's just like, that's just golf, But to get in that, to give yourself the situation to then not quite make it over the last hurdle is an incredible effort to put yourself in that situation. And, we see this all the time in professional golf when, those who don't necessarily play the game that much will happily pile on someone for their performance in a 4th round of a major. But to get in that situation, to actually be in the conversation on the last day, is in itself, phenomenal effort. And I think that there's so much out of that so many people listening to this would go, I'd love to be able to be half a dozen under par after 3 rounds of golf cumulatively. Like, I would. That would be amazing.
And I don't want to sound ungrateful that I was able to play that sort of golf either. I like to think I put the time in and stuff like that to get there. But look, the stars aligned for me in those 2 rounds. I'm definitely proud of what I did there. And I've had a few opportunities throughout my career as a golfer too, being able to get to those sort of scenarios, and definitely a few ones that I've done this sort of scenario with. It is a feat to overcome that and actually get that win. I've only ever done it really once or twice. I was lucky enough to win the international when I was 16, which was final round was at Curry, and got my trophy presented by Jack Newton, and I just remember the euphoric feeling. And funny, I was watching only the other week that I don't know whether anyone's seen it, the Rory McIlroy documentary that's on. I think it's Amazon Prime, is it? Anyway. Or Apple TV. I can't remember which one, but I was watching it the other week, and my feeling at the end of it wasn't like joyous and being happy. It was relief that I sort of got over that hurdle, like got over that. You keep stuffing it up at the end. It's really easy, because I don't know about you guys, but I think we can all be guilty of playing that awesome 9 holes and just not being able to finish it off with that second 9.
100%. That's a topic for an entire episode in and of itself. But to that point, like, there's so many stories that you listen to about, the likes of Michael Jordan that became known for sinking the clutch 3-pointer on the buzzer to win games. And you read his story, and it's all about all of the ones that he missed. For the 1 or 2 that went down, and they're the ones that got remembered, but it's all of the ones that he missed along the way. And if he'd missed a few and he went, you know what, I just don't have it. It's not for me. I'm not that guy. Then Michael Jordan never would have become Michael Jordan. So, and golf's even more cruel. Out of 150, 160 starters, only 1 guy wins.
That's right.
That's incredible.
You got to think to yourself though. That's right. 1 guy wins.
Yeah.
Why can't you be that one guy?
100%. But like, what a stupid game to get involved with
We're all kicking ourselves now, aren't we?
with those kinds of odds. Like go play soccer or footy where one team wins, one team
It's
loses.
team sport. Yeah,
No, play golf where everybody in the game loses except one guy.
Oh yeah, so many variables in golf. There's just
So brutal.
many.
So brutal.
Yep. Like even the way you feel going into the start of a round can just. I don't know about you guys, but like if I go in there with a little niggle in my elbow or whatever, I'll just concentrate on it all day, and it'll do my head in. But anyway.
Absolutely. Or as in middle age, searching for middle age sporting glory, maybe it's a bit of arthritis or.
Could be anything really, like rib cartilage.
Totally.
Maybe it's a nasty chafe. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Something you picked up on a boys' trip away. Yeah.
Anything's possible. I am mindful of time, Matty, because we've kept you from the family quite a while. We're now a solid hour and 20 into the episode. So
sorry for my rambling.
No, it's been phenomenal, and I would easily carry this conversation on for another couple of hours, but I feel like we're going to have to call it quits at some point. So, Andy Walker, any final questions for Matty before we look to wrap up with a special surprise?
No, that's pretty much it. I think that this has been a great chat. I mean, as you said, we could continue chatting, I think, for another sort of 2 or 3 hours. And
Easy.
Maybe when I'm out the Central West next, we might be able to do that and turn the mics on and just have a free range session. And if someone can sit through that amount of time, then they can.
No, amazing, Matty. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been awesome.
No, thank you.
Having you on the show. And I think you've provided the soundtrack for us to rock out to in the near future. Pilgrims, as you know, we are trying to introduce a new genre into the music world, which is golf rock. Or golf blues or golf Americana, golf gospel, golf whatever you want. We're aiming to release the Missing Links Golf Show, the album, in time for Christmas.
Watch out, Michael Bublé.
Yeah, and this is the first one from a guest artist. So you've written this yourself. It's very impressive, Pilgrims. It's very impressive. You. So strap yourselves in. And as I hit the play button, Andy Walker, have you got any advice for the Pilgrims?
Just one thing, rock out, Pilgrims.
Arriving early, hit the nets to get those kinks out, but forget to stretch. Buy some balls, buy some tees, jump up on the first, try not to freeze. Out of bounds or in the water, how many ways to climb and falter? This game's the best, but one of the worst. A humbling sport, it's quite a curve. Fade or draw, middle rough, shot one, shot two, damn it's tough. A game of pride, a game of the mind, the game of golf, it's one of a kind. Hell of a time, striving for fame, one hole at a time. It's a hell of a game. Birdie the first, birdie the fourth, but forget two doubles in the middle, of course. Bomb that drive, confident sky high, then three putt from 10 feet. My game's on a dive. Fade or draw, middle or rough, shot one, shot two, damn it's tough. A game of pride, a game of the mind, the game of golf, it's one to admire. Hell of a time, striving for fame, one hole Well, it's a game no one can tame. It's a game only for the insane. Can't believe I played